Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about the CAT verbal section from this year's paper. Now this year's paper CAT section was exactly same as last few years. There's not major change in the verbal section. Fine, this lecture is a part of a series of all the videos which I take for this year CAT exam. Fine, so please go through the other video as well to get to know about the overview video, the quant video, verbal, logic, DI. Fine, there are 5 videos in total. Please go through all of them to understand what I'm talking about. Fine. So first of all, none of the questions which are there in this exam have taken from the actual CAT paper of this year. They're all based on CAT papers in the previous years to make you understand the kind of questions which are coming in this year CAT paper. Alright, so let's have the breakup of the CAT exam. Fine. Now CAT verbal section is always the most difficult section for everyone, especially engineers. Fine. And most of them screw up their CAT because of the verbal section, or they couldn't get a better percentile because of the verbal section. Fine. Now let me give you the overview here. The major part of the CAD quant section is again RC. 33% of the paper is based on RC. So obviously I must do things. Followed by a paragraph completion. Again a very important topic which normally people miss. Vocab, grammar, parajumbles and the critical reasoning. So these are the 6 main areas of your verbal. Yep. What I follow is a verbal 20-10 principle, exactly same as what I do in CAT as well. Fine. First of all, maths verbal is not your main weak area, and verbal is not 30 questions. The verbal is only 20 questions. Fine. 20 questions are based on verbal and 10 questions are based on LR. Fine. So don't worry about your verbal section. Your verbal is only 66% of the paper. If I talk about the overall paper, verbal is not 50% but 33% of the total CAT paper is verbal. 20 question verbal, 20 question LRDI and 20 question maths. Fine, each area is 33%, which is exactly same as what used to happen earlier from last almost 10 years now. Fine. Now again, getting back to this thing, this is a verbal section and this is your LR section. So 9 to 10 question in LR and 21 to 20 question in verbal. Fine. Now talking about LR section, RC is yes based on reading, so you have to work on your reading skills. RC is not based on your vocab. Fine. Grammar, vocabulary is a part of your verbal. RC is typically not part of your verbal. Fine. The moment you start thinking RC is an independent thing where you have to work on your reading skills and your comprehension skills, trust me, it's more of a logical ability than verbal. Fine, I'll give you few examples while we're doing this video, but as of now, I'm going to give you that. Paragraph completion is more of a logical reasoning. It's not at all your verbal ability. Parajumbles is same your logical ability. Parajumble is like 4 people standing in a row. Who will come first? Who will come second? It's purely a puzzle kind of thing. Fine. Critical reasoning is again your logical ability. So 3, 5, 6 question again go into the logic section. So logic section is basically 15 plus question, not 10 question, which is normally claimed here. So again 50% here, 50% here. So CAT section, stop getting worried about from the verbal section. Verbal section is only 15%, 15 question out of 30. Fine, which you have to work on. Out of that again, reading is your main part, which you can't avoid. I know there are a lot of engineers who have talked to earlier. They say that they'll try to score in verbal without touching RC. They'll only do LR and they only add up grammar, vocab and other things. Trust me, I'm teaching for last 5 years. I've tried all these things in my mock. I'm taking CAT for last 5 years now, and I don't take CAT to score. Fine, I take CAT every year to understand the paper. I know there are some faculty who are going and they're trying to top the exam just to prove themselves. I think that's nonsense thing to do. Anyway, that's a different issue. But what I've done is, for example, 1 year I just did LR section. I completely did every question of LR in 1 hour seriously in this section, and I scored 78 percentile. It's not only my score, it's for 5 people. All my faculties, we only did LR. We got 78 percentile, 78 to 80 in between that range. Next year I did all the non-RC based questions. Fine. Again I scored around 75 percentile. Okay. Once we added all the things, we added all the non-RC based question and everything, and my score was around 85 to 90 percentile. What I'm trying to hear is, if you are interested in getting 90 plus, especially 99 percentile, you have to score in RC. You can't avoid this major area. That's why the daily schedule which I'm giving you to all my students in last 1 month contains RC every day. Every day 2 RCs from now till the end of your exam. Alright, so RC way to do, if you have got the CET basic books, chapter number 3 from the book is more than sufficient. There will be 9 to 11 questions from that particular one chapter, followed by your advanced book, which is your green book we have, which is given to all our students. That one book is more than sufficient for everything. We have divided RC into social RCs, into psychological RCs, all those RCs. Next is your critical reasoning. One chapter from the book, chapter number 24, will give you 1 to 2 questions in the exam, and chapter number 2, which is fill in the blanks, vocab and grammar, 5 questions. So total probably 20 questions out of the exam are based on your these 3 chapters. Please do them first. Alright, now in this video I'm going to focus on RC mainly, because RC is something which is the main thing to improve for almost everyone. Fine. So if you're joined CETing, these are the 10 8 strategies which I'm going to talk about in my workshops. Fine. We'll start with the RC basics, what is coming, what is not coming, which I'm going to cover today as well. Key RC question, what are the main type of questions which are coming in RC? Fine. Normally, if you've seen any coaching institute, they divide RC into social RCs, your other kind of RCs, psychological RCs, science-based RCs. But we have divided the RCs into type of questions which are coming, like fact-based questions and inference-based questions. Main idea of the passage, main topic of the passage, what author is trying to say, all these things. Common mistake people do in RC, that is a very, very important class for you people to attend. Paraphrasing, rephrasing, again a very important strategy. RC roadmap, 1/3. This is 1.3 RC strategy. TPSM, which I'm going to talk about today. RC 2.3 and G strategy. G strategy is our very famous strategy. G strategy is not a genius strategy. It's more of a Garib student strategy. Garib is a poor person. The student who are Garib in RC or poor in RC, this strategy works wonder for those people. Fine. Alright. So I'm going to talk about the TPSM strategy today. But before that, let me this one slide is going to change the perception of most of the students preparing for CAT and any of the exam, in fact, for RC. Which is more, what is more important in RC, a fact or an opinion? The text which is there, fine. Now most of you are going to answer opinion, but now let me ask you a second question. Why in every RC which you start reading the text? Yeah. Now what I want you to do is, I want to change your perception away from reading the text to understanding the RC. Fine. It's a very, very important change which you have to do from now itself if you want to inculcate the habit of understanding the RC. Because out of your 11 questions in RC, only 1 question, or worst case 2 questions, are going to be based on the fact. What author mean by using that word? Fine. All these kind of questions have stopped coming in almost every exam. Narsi Monji, CMAT, ZAT, IFT, SNAP, of course CAT. Fine. So your opinion or understanding is more important. Don't read the RC, don't mug the RC, but understand the RC. Fine. That is a fundamental change which I want you to bring in you. Fine. Let's start with the first strategy. One strategy which I'm going to talk about here, which is the TPS, which is the topic, scope, main purpose, and idea. Fine. Out of your 11 questions of RC, 7 questions are going to be based on TSPM, sorry. Fine. So like, identify the topic, identify the scope, why author is writing the particular thing, what author want to include, why author included this paragraph, main idea of the main point of the passage, purpose of the passage. Main point of the passage, 3 questions out of 11 questions will be on this thing. And 90% people will do this question wrong. Trust me. Alright, now this is a typical RC. I don't want you to read this. I just want to give you an overview about this. Will be a kind of a RC, medium size RC, not a very, very big RC. Now TPSM strategy is basically based on your first part of the RC. The first paragraph itself will give you the idea about all these things. You don't need to read the complete paragraph to understand, to answer all these questions. So almost 7 out of 11 questions of your RCs are based on first paragraph. In this case, the first paragraph was very small, so I'm adding the first half of the second paragraph as well. Fine. To give you the overview about this thing. Fine. Now to tell now from this thing how to strategize also, I'm going to deeper into how to do this thing. So step number one is read the first third of the paragraph kind of thing passage. Fine. Identify the topic, scope, purpose of the passage. Fine. Now I want you to pause the video and read this paragraph, read this one third of the passage and identify what they're talking about. Identify the topic, scope, purpose, and the main idea. So please pause the video. Alright, so topic is something which is broad concept or the main idea of the passage. Fine, overview. Scope will be more narrowed down as compared to the topic, and purpose is the why author is writing all these things. Fine. So let's start with the first part. Topic. The broad topic is a battle of Gettysburg. This is one of the main battle which was fought during the Civil War of America. Fine. It's a very, very important battle from the history point of view. But anyway, it's not going towards that side, but that's the main topic about. Fine. A very, very broad general overview of the topic. Fine. Scope is a what he's talking about. Is he talking about the pre-battle incident, what happened? Is he talking about how the battle is fought, or is he talking about the aftermath of battle? Now, even though the question, you're not going to get any question based on that scope directly, but before you jump on the question, it's very, very important to identify what he's talking about, because your answer will be related to that. So in this case, we're talking about how the battle was fought in this paragraph which we just did. Fine. Third question, why the author is right? He want to explain what happened during the war. He want to refute or establish point, or he want to contradict, or he want to interpret two contradicting statements or two contrast statements. Fine. In this passage, actually he's talking about how the war happened. Fine. He's not refuting any established point that side A was very, very strong, but something happened to them. Fine. He's not doing any contrast between any two point of view. He's not comparing between peace and war. He's not comparing between post-war America and before war America. Fine. So this thing will give you a brief about how the passage organized. Now, once you are equipped with all these things, then you should look at the question. Stop looking at the question before the start of the passage. Trust me, most of people do that. They read the passage, they read the question first, then go to the passage. It's a nonsense strategy which always fall flat. Trust me. Fine. Alright, a commandment. Now, if you have joined us, if you see my IIMking verbal classes, you see a lot of commandments coming in. Fine. For most of the time, the author's purpose will usually be the offer a personal interpretation of the issue at hand. That's the most important part. Personal interpretation. We're not talking about the text. We're not talking about what happened in the war, like in last paragraph. We're more talking about what author feels or interpret about that RC. Trust me, 9 out of 11 questions are based on a personal interpret, not on what the text is all about. Fine. So start coming out of this. Now, second paragraph is more of a more complicated paragraph, just to get you into the flavor of this thing. Again, please pause the video and try to do it yourself. Fine. So topic, scope, purpose, main idea. I want to identify these four things. Fine. So if you've read this thing, the main purpose of the topic is basically building democratic society. The article talks about more of how to build democratic society. Scope, the institute that underline the democratic societies. Find what are the main points to cover. Trust me, normally people are just worried about taking the points about these things. Fine. Beyond the political parties, electoral laws, market mechanisms, and all these things are immaterial when you're doing the RCs of CAT and all the other exams. Fine. We're not talking about the text-based RCs or fact-based RCs. We're talking about more of an interpretation of RCs. Fine. The purpose to zero into the conditions required for this thing, and the main idea is how non-democratic countries like Eastern Europe and Asia, fine, can become a democratic by using all this. That was the main purpose of the RC which we're talking about. Fine. Now what I've done is I build your foundation towards an RC, and then you can start showing the question. So trust me, for every question, take your time, no problem. You are getting around 2 minutes per question. Fine. So if there are 3 questions based on one RC, so you're getting around 6 minutes time to solve the RC. Out of that, only 2 minutes is more than sufficient to read, and remaining 4 minutes more than sufficient to solve the questions. Time wise, you got enough time to do all the RCs. Yep. So moving on to the second part, which is the paragraph completion. Again, 3 questions out of your exam will be based on paragraph completion. And trust me, most of students ignore this area. It's a very common sense approach for this question. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4 approach to solve this question, which I'm going to show you once you join us. Fine. So again, please pause the video and try to do it yourself. Yeah. So this question, this passage is basically the last passage of this, the last line of this passage have been removed. So your job is to identify what happened in the last. All right. In this paragraph now, let's start solving the question. First of all, let's first understand what is the main talking about. Now, in this article, the main thing is why the surgeon is losing patients. That is the main thing we have to talk about. Fine. Let's start looking at the option. The first of all, which option are out of scope? Remove them. If I read this thing, but himself is not concerned, but other will take their place, he thought. Now these two lines are more talking about author's attitude or author's personality. They're not talking about why people have left, why patients have left. These hands are steady enough, but they are large. Again, this is out of scope. This we don't need that. Now we're left with these two options. Yes, first one and second one. Both of them are talking about the other people, the patients. Fine. Now if you have a closer look, if we go down deep into this thing, fine. Other people do not communicate due to their poor observation. Other patients don't like what they see but are ignorant of their rights to go elsewhere. Now that is something which is perfectly fitting into the paragraph. So option A is out. Fine. So once you join us, you'll see a lot of strategies around how to solve this thing. And trust me, it's a very important. 3 questions directly are based on this thing. All right. Next is a sentence correction, and we have a seating approach to solve these questions. I'm just going to give you one question. Please again pause the video and try to do it yourself. Fine. Now the question is here is that which of the following sentence is grammatically correct? Fine. This means out of the 5 sentences, 4 are wrong, 1 is correct. To identify which one of them is right. Yep. So if you've tried it yourself, let's start looking at each of them. In 1849, a poor Bavarian immigrated named Levi Strauss. Now spelling of immigration is wrong, so obviously A is out. So any option which contain A will be out. So down to B and C. Now I don't even need to check for D and D. So D and D have to be wrong. So only B or C will be the answer. Landed in San Francisco, California. Alright, agree. At the invitation of his brother-in-law, David Stern. Now the missing part is here. The brother-in-law, after brother-in-law, there should be a comma. Which was missing here. Fine. So C is out. Owner of dry goods business. Fine. It should be the owner of dry fruit because owner itself is not complete. His dry goods business would later become. It should be would later be known as this thing. That's why E is out. But if you use the option, we're down to NC. The moment I know C is not here, answer would be B Bombay. That's where how I can save the time to solve this question. Fine. So A is out because of the spelling mistake of immigrant. D was out because the owner should be there. C is out because the later would later be known as, and C is out because of the comma. That's why answer is B alone. So there will be two to three questions based on sentence correction. And trust me, if you have not attended CA taking workshop or if you're not well prepared with the topic, do not attempt this, because sentence correction is the area where normally people do wrong. Fine. So don't touch it if you are not comfortable with the topic, because this is there to break your ice, break your speed. Fine. Next part is the paragraph jumbles. I don't consider them to be a part of verbal. They're more of a logical reasoning. Fine. Again, please pause the video and try to do it yourself. The first statement, A is fixed. So for first is true, you have to find out B, C, D, E, which one will come in this place. Alright, if you have read this part, if you see C and E have to be come together. E followed by C makes a perfect pair. Fine, that is the first thing you have to identify. Out of the 4 options B, C, D, E, identify the 2 options which are making a pair. So C, E makes a pair. CE is not being a pair in the option E. C, E, EC is not making a sorry option pair here, and again A is out. So answer is between B and D. Alright. Now here either D will come first or E will come first after A. Now if the moment I read A statement again, D cannot be a part of that. Fine, D is not the second statement. D cannot be the second statement immediately after A. Yeah, as we can read. So obviously this is out. So answer is 4. Fine. So how to solve this question? E and C will make a pair linked because of the word crime. Fine. D cannot followed by A because a particular piece of work is mentioned in B. Fine. Because of that, D have to come after B. Alright. So once you join us, there will be a lot of videos regarding that, a lot of strategies regarding that. Fine. Next is our vocab based questions. We have our decoding words strategy for that. Fine. So again, please pause the video and try to do this question yourself. Alright, if you've already tried to do it yourself, the Cricket Council were elected last. Cricket Council is singular, not plural. So answer have to be was. So A. Any option which is not giving you A is out. So this is out, this is out, this is out. So second one without even touching, I can say have to be A, but let's try it out. Fine. Elected in March is R at 6s and 7s all over new rules. Is obviously it becomes a singular. So to easy strategy, obviously, because that was already clear from the option itself. The critics censored and censured. Fine. Now that is a very, very thin line between the two. Censored, we have seen the videos, you've seen the movies, you've seen the censor board and everything. It's all about censored. Censured is more about the published evidence, not about the people. Fine. It's more about things. Yeah. Next part. So answer should be B Bombay. So again, this is gone. So my answer is A, D donkey. But still, let's continue the thing. Amit's explanation for the missing meeting was credulous or credible. Now, credulous is more used for the things again, not for the people. Credible is used for the people. Amit, because we're talking about the person itself, answer have to be credible, which is again supported here in my answer. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to identify an answer and then checking it back and find out whether I'm right or wrong. It's very, very important to check your answer again, because that's where people do mistake. Trust me, every one of you, 90% of the people watching this video, my students and everyone, will solve at least 25 plus questions in verbal. Fine. Trust me, the moment you touch 28, your percentile will fall like anything. That's my record which I've seen. People who have touched 28 question attempt in the exam have always scored around 85 percentile, because you're very, very likely to go wrong. Alright, so please, once you're done with the answer, please do check your answer. That's what we call as a plan B strategy, or again rechecking the answer. Fine. She coughed discreetly or discreetly. Two nouns are present. Now discreetly is like chupake, hidden. Fine. So obviously she coughed hidden, not discreetly. Now this was a tricky part, but because we have done it from the options, we got it right. Fine. So answer is discreetly, not discreetly. Fine. Discreetly is a word used where you hide something. Fine. So answer is A, B, B, A. Alright, so if you have joined IIMking or if you're planning to join us, there are a lot of shortcut videos regarding quant and verbal on our side. There are 6 videos which are very, very important for your cutoff clearing workshop. RC in half the time, grammar, vocab, fill in the blanks, paragraph completion, critical reasoning and logical reasoning. So please, if you can join us for the last few months. Fine. So how to prepare now? Again, to summarize everything, please work on your basics. It's very, very important to cover up all your basics. Important areas of your verbal section, which I just talked about: RC, grammar, fill in the blanks, paragraph completion. Fine. Weak areas, identify your weak areas. If RC is your weak area, trust me, stop taking the CAT. You don't need to take the CAT. Fine. And then you're going to do nothing in CAT otherwise. So you have to work on RC. Shortcut, try to improve your area. The way I've taught you, all the steps, all the approaches we have got at IIMking, you can apply them on the exams to score well. Starting the few mocks and try to see your score, how much you're scoring in the verbal section. Actual papers is very, very important to take all the actual papers of CAT. And of course, lastly, don't worry about the CAT exam. It's just the first exam. There are a lot of the game have just begun. Your IFT, your ZAT, your SNAP, NMAT, CMAT, all the exams are coming. So don't worry at all. Fine. If you want to contact me, you can contact me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Arrivegun, or call me at 9820500380. Fine. You can also join our online Facebook group, which is the JBIMS, which is the I am Dream Team CAT Dream Team. Just Google it out. Just search it on Facebook. You'll find that. You can join us and post your questions here. All right. All the best. Thank you.